At this time, I have decided to resign from my position as president of the Liberal Democratic Party.
A political earthquake has shaken Tokyo. Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba has resigned less than a year after taking office, plunging the world's fourth-largest economy into fresh uncertainty. Having just ironed out final details of a trade deal with the United States to lower President Donald Trump's punishing tariffs, Ishiba told a press conference he must take responsibility for a series of bruising election losses. With his ruling coalition losing majorities in both houses of parliament, Ishiba had little choice but to take responsibility. He cited his government reaching a milestone on tariff negotiations with U.S. President Donald Trump as a reason for his resignation, adding he hopes that his successor will maintain strong relations with the United States and other key partners.
Regarding tariff negotiations with the United States, with the agreement that has just been reached, ensuring our nation's economy and security, and aiming for a significant acceleration of economic growth, I am confident that we have laid the foundation for these goals. However, this is not the end of the matter. From here on, it is essential to ensure the implementation of the agreement, and if new concerns arise, we must respond to them accordingly. This agreement was reached based on the relationship of trust between our administration and the Trump administration. Because of that, it is an agreement that was made possible. Our administration should have fulfilled its responsibility in this regard, but the fact that things have turned out this way is truly a source of regret for me. Our country has 6,000 export items, and among them, more than 4,000 are export items to the United States. Each and every export item, as well as the companies and business operators handling them, the concerns held by such people must be properly dispelled. Furthermore, we must build an even stronger Japanese economy. I sincerely hope that the new framework will also carry on the relationship of trust between the Japanese and US governments and ensure the proper implementation of the agreement. This is my strong wish.
Concern over political uncertainty prompted a sell-off in Japan's yen currency and its government bonds last week, with the yield on the 30-year bond hitting a record high on Wednesday. Investors are focusing on the chance of Ishiba being replaced by an advocate of looser fiscal and monetary policy, such as LDP veteran Sanae Takaichi, who has criticized the Bank of Japan's interest rate hikes. Ishiba narrowly defeated Takaichi in last year's LDP leadership runoff. Shinjiro Koizumi, the telegenic political scion who has gained prominence as Ishiba's farm minister, tasked with trying to cap soaring prices, is another possible successor. Since the ruling coalition has lost its parliamentary majority, the next LDP president is not guaranteed to become prime minister, although that is likely as the party remains by far the largest in the lower house. Whoever becomes the next leader may choose to call a snap election to seek a mandate, analyst Handinon said. While Japan's opposition remains fractured, the far-right anti-immigration Sanseido Party made big gains in July's upper house election, bringing once fringe ideas into the political mainstream. Nearly 55% of respondents to a poll by Kyodo News Agency published on Sunday said there was no need to hold an early election. Ishiba, a party outsider who became leader on his fifth attempt last September, wrapped up his brief tenure by completing the trade deal with Japan's biggest trading partner, pledging $550 billion of investments in return for lower tariffs. Trump's tariffs, especially those targeted at Japan's critical automotive sector, have forced Japan to downgrade its already weak growth outlook for the year. Ishiba said he hoped his successor could ensure the deal is executed and Japan continues generating wage gains to assuage voter concerns over living costs. He also expressed concern about the security environment his successor will inherit, pointing to an unprecedented gathering of Chinese, Russian, and North Korean leaders in Beijing for a massive military parade last week.
The other day, there was a military parade held in China. When we see the leaders of China, Russia, and North Korea standing side by side before our eyes, it is clear that our security environment will become even more challenging in the future. We cannot help but feel a sense of alarm about this. Kanawakis, the kiss of... At the G7 summit as well, I have said this many times before. What about the security environments in Europe, the Middle East, and East Asia? They are all closely interconnected. The reliability of the US nuclear deterrent, the development of shelters, and strengthening our nation's deterrence capabilities is an urgent issue. As seen in the fighting in Ukraine, the nature of warfare is rapidly changing. The autonomous enhancement of our national defense capabilities. It's not because someone told us to do so. We must proactively strengthen our defense capabilities. We need to further commit ourselves to this. At the same time, through dialogue with other countries, we must build trust.
After the House of Councillors election, there was a significant increase in voices within the Liberal Democratic Party calling for your resignation. Tomorrow marks 50 days since the election ended. Do you personally feel that you should have resigned sooner, or that it would have been better if you had stepped down earlier? Especially regarding measures to address the rising cost of living, such as cash handouts, tax reductions, or the abolition of the gasoline tax. Many citizens have been calling for politics to move forward. Prime Minister, you have said you will not tolerate stagnation. You said you would continue to run the administration, but over these 50 days, do you feel that politics actually came to a standstill and created a political vacuum?
I understand there have been various criticisms. During this period, I have been considering how best to these tariff negotiations. When the House of Councillors election ended, we did not yet have a clear outlook on this matter. In fact, we were facing a number of difficult situations. This agreement, however, was something that required a decision from the President's domain. We had not yet properly reached the point where we could proceed to that stage. This has not become something definite. For example, if tariffs on automobiles were set at 25%, what kind of impact would that have on the Japanese economy? Not only automobiles, but also related industries. Automobiles represent the largest source of employment in Japan. In addition to that, there are many other companies, workers, families, and livelihoods involved. To set a clear course for this, that is what we have aimed to do. As an administration, we have truly devoted our efforts to this. I do not believe there has been any political vacuum in this regard. And furthermore, regarding wage increases, ensuring that this is carried out without fail, is something our administration was absolutely determined to accomplish. In all respects, or for those working at small and medium-sized enterprises, it is precisely these wage increases that outpace rising prices that are of utmost importance. That is what I mean, and this is the kind of result we have been able to achieve, as I mentioned earlier. Furthermore, we have also addressed disaster prevention, crisis management measures, and policies regarding rice and agriculture. During this time, I have devoted myself wholeheartedly. As a government, we have steadily moved forward, drawing on the wisdom and support of many people. Steadily, I believe we have been able to implement our policies in this way. Any criticism that comes my way is something I must accept as a person in power. However, during this period, I have been determined that a political vacuum, as you mentioned, must never be allowed to occur, and in a sense, I have worked tirelessly without rest. I have worked through weekends and holidays. That is only natural. With all my strength, together with everyone. We have made every effort. I take pride in that fact. Of course, there were many areas where I fell short. Any criticism or attitude toward that is something I must humbly accept.